Good afternoon. I'm a little bit behind in getting this midweek devotion out, but here it is. First, I have a few announcements. First is that I would love to hear your God stories in this time of social distancing and perhaps isolation. You don't have to be a member of the Wyckoff or Preston United Methodist Church to do this. I believe, and I hope you believe, that God is active during this time. So, if we believe that, how have you seen that in action? Is God active through a kind work that you have done, or a kind action someone did for you? Perhaps even a phone call that you received, or perhaps you're experiencing a revival in your own devotional life from staying at home. Whatever it is, I think we should share these stories because they have the power to encourage us all. You can email those stories to me, or if you're on YouTube, please go ahead and share them in the comments. Second, and this is for members of the Preston and Wyckoff United Methodist Church, a reminder that you can send your tithes and offerings through the mail. Preston UMC's P.O. Box is 247 in Preston, and Wyckoff UMC's P.O. Box is Box 22 in Wyckoff. Thirdly, be sure to tune into KFIL 103.1 Sunday mornings at 9:30 for The Calling. It's a program that features scripture, a message, and perhaps some music as well. I'm waiting for a webcam to arrive for my other computer, the one that I do the recording of that program on. So hopefully this Sunday I'll be able to post a video and not just audio of the radio program. So okay, that's where those were the things I wanted to mention right away, and I'm going to now move us to center ourselves to hear the words of Scripture. Today's scripture is from John chapter 9. As he walked along, he saw a blind man from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As I am in the world, I am the light of the world." When he said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go to the pool." Then he went and washed and came back able to see. May God bless the reading, hearing, and understanding of these words. I would like to start by first telling a short story from my godmother. She told this story. Her daughter was 7 years old when her father died. When this young child, who was just starting to grasp the concept of mortality and death, came to her pastor, she asked, "Why? Why did my grandfather die?" The pastor replied with a simple response. He said that he died because Adam ate an apple, and therefore we all have to die. I want you to ponder that just a little bit. Was that really an adequate answer to a child coming to understand mortality? If you're anything like me, you might be just a little bit troubled by this explanation. Some of you may or may not know that my former career was a news reporter. And during that time in that occupation, I reported on some tragedies that were very distressing. some of which were an accident, others were the result of some moral evil. But to these folks, and looking back at those situations as a pastor, I'm not sure telling them they experienced suffering or trauma was because Adam ate the apple is really a good enough response. Take this story about the healing of this blind man. Jesus sees him on the road. We know from the beginning of this story that this man was blind from birth. He's noticed by Jesus and his disciples. And it may help also to know the conventional wisdom of the ancient world at Jesus' time. And this is the conventional wisdom. If you were sick, you must have done something to deserve it. And if you didn't, you must be getting punished for your parents' sin. Either way, everything happened for a reason. If you were a leper, handicapped, or blind, you must have done something to deserve it. And that's what the disciples think. They asked Jesus about the blind man. Who sinned here? Was it him? Was it the blind man? Or is he being punished for his parents' sin? And Jesus' answer is that it's neither, but rather that his condition was to show God's power. In this time, we're wrestling with that age-old question, why? Why do people suffer? Especially, why do the innocent suffer? Be honest with you, I don't understand suffering. I don't think the Adam and Eve story does it justice in describing the broken world that we live in. But here is one thing that I do believe. I believe that we are called to show compassion for those who suffer, regardless of their situation. We're given tools in Scripture for us to process suffering. Think about the nation of Israel in exile. Job, who defends his innocence in his suffering. The Psalms, where the psalmist is pointing with his fist toward heaven and seems to only hear back his own echo. Or perhaps Jesus weeping at the tomb of Lazarus. We're called to love each other during this time of suffering, even if that means we're 6 feet apart. We may not have the answer, but we're given the task of showing compassion. And we are called to look forward to that day where God will wipe away all the tears from our eyes, and all that is broken will be made whole. May God bless you this day. May you find healing. May you live your life with mercy and compassion. And may we look forward to the time when we will be joined together again. Peace.